Hi, welcome to Data Analytics with Python for Beginners. Today, we are in the third session and we'll be talking about data frames, right? We like to use data frames in Python because it's very similar to what we always do in tables, right? Data frames are something like tables where you have columns as well as you have rows. So we are more familiar with using data in that format, right? So that we will do our analysis, right? So today we'll do that, right? So split the screen to two. As usual, on the left side will be our slides, and then on the right side will be our program. Set your go to the folder where you have all your Python material, which I do. Mine is Data Analytics with Python for Beginners. So from here, I'll create a new Python file, go to New, and then Python 3. After that, I will add more rows below. All right. Right. So in order to use data frames, we will need to import a library called Pandas. Pandas are mainly used for data management as well as analysis. And we'll be using a lot of Pandas in the course, right? So we'll import the Pandas package and we give it an alias PD. So every time we call PD, effectively we are calling Pandas. All right, let's copy this and then paste it here. And then we'll do Shift Enter. All right. So if you want to know more about Pandas, you can go to this link, right? So the next thing we want to do is we want to import data into Python as data frame. So the data format comes in different forms. It could be in the form of CSV. It could be in the form of XLS, which is Excel, or even text. So depending on the format which the data is from, we will need to use a different function for each format. So for example, if the data is in the CSV format, right, we need to use the read CSV function, right, in order to upload this CSV file into Python and convert them into a data frame. All right, so usually that's what we do. We give a name to the data frame, and then we use Pandas and read the CSV file. All right. So in our example, we are going to use the same housing data AMK file, right? Let's create a data frame called housing data AMK, and then we'll use Pandas to read this file. Let's copy this and paste it here. And then hit Shift Enter. All right. Now, a lot of times when we import the data, right, we want to know what are the columns in the data, right? Or what are the names of the columns in the data. So usually what we do is we want to display the first 5 rows of the data frame, including the the column labels. All right, let's copy and paste. And we use the head function, right? The head function will do that, right? And here we see that in this housing data AMK data frame. So these are the columns we have, right? All the right? So these are the columns, and we can basically see, in essence, the data, is it mainly numbers or are they in text? All right, so we always like to use the head function to verify the columns. It also allows us to make sure that all the columns that we want are in the data frame, right? It could so that we can start processing our data. All right, so this is also for us to check. All right, again, if you want to know more, you can go to this link. All right. Okay, next part, we want to, after we have created the housing data AMK data frame, we want to further reduce it, right, to make us even a smaller data frame, right? We want to make a new data frame, which is called AMK. And what we do is we don't want all the columns in the housing data AMK. We only want these columns, the year, the flat type, as well as the resale price, right? Take note that these are the names of the column, and they have to match what we have in our data frame. For example, for the year, right, you can see that it's actually a capital letter Y. So we must follow exactly, all right? So here we create a new data frame, right, with these columns, right? And then we'll call out the data frame AMK. Right, you can see that. So this is the AMK data frame, right, with 3 columns. And then you can see that there are basically 225 rows, all right, for this AMK data frame. Now, what happens if we want to select specific rows from this AMK data frame, right? We use the ilog. Ilog meaning that is based on the index of the rows, right? So if you go back to the data frame, so these are really the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are really the row index, all right? So let's say if you want to select the first 10 rows, right, using the index 0 to 10. So we'll copy this, right? If you still recall, the first row is always 0, and the last row is n minus 1, right? So let's select these 10 rows, right? So you can see here, right, from 0 to 9. So these are the 10 rows that we have selected from the AMK data frame, all right? What happens if I want to select alternate rows, right? So all I need to do is that I just put down the X numbers for the rows. The first part is the rows, right? After that, when you have a comma, then you will have column. So with a semicolon, it means that all the columns, all right? So this line just tells us that we want to select from the AMK data frame, the index row 1, 4, and 8, and then all the columns, right? Right, let's copy and paste it here. And then hit Shift Enter. So you can see we are selecting index row 1, 4, and 8, right? 1, 4, and 8 from the above AMK data frame. So these are some of the ways to select, right? In terms of index, right? But we can also select the rows based on the values. For example, we want to select the rows where the year is 2019. All right. So we'll use the AMK and we'll use a locate method, right? What we locate is we want to locate whereby the column in the AMK data frame, right? The column year in the data frame AMK, the value is equals to 2019, right? That's the row. And then we want to select all the columns. All right. So let's copy this and paste it here. And hit Shift Enter. Now we can see that we have selected all the rows, right, where the year is 2019. All right. So these are the rows. Okay. All right. So for us, log LOC, right, gets the rows of the columns with a particular labels. All right. Whereas ilog gets the rows based on the position in the index, right? So they normally ilog will take integers because of the position that they're in the data frame. All right. Now, what happens if we want to select rows and columns in a different combination, right? For example, right, we want to select index row 0 to 3 and column 0 to 2. Right, let's copy and paste. Right, so basically we want to select rows index 0, 1, 2 and then columns 0 and 1, right? You can see, right? Remember the last is really n minus 1, right? Next part, if you want a combination where, sorry, not combination, we just want to select the column resale price where the index is 0 to 5, right? All right, let's copy from here to here, right? So it's 0 to 4, okay? Or we want to select a combination whereby the year is 2019 and the row index is all the row index and then the column index. All right, so columns 1 to 3. All right. Oops. So here you can see that here is basically part of the command. So I shouldn't run it. Right, it should be cut part of the command here. Right, delete and I rerun again. All right, so it's that whereby the years are 2019, right? All the rows, right? All the rows, and then the first 3 columns. All right, first 3 columns. Okay, so that's what we have here. All right. Now sometimes we have different tables, right? Mainly because in an organization you have different departments, and different departments normally maintain their own tables. But then when you want to merge the tables together, right, so that it forms a meaningful information for you. All right. So so the next part we want to learn how to merge data. All right. Again, we are going to use the AMK DataFrame. Let's create a new data frame called XR. And this XR is basically from AMK, where we take the first 3 rows and the first 2 columns. All right, let's copy this and paste it here. So you can see that our XR is these 3 rows, right? Right, where you have the year 2017 and then the flat type to be 3 room. So these are this is XR. Now what happens if we want to find TR? TR is the same except that it's the first 3 rows and it's really the 3rd column. All right, so let's copy this and paste it here. All right, you can see that it's the 3rd column. All right, column. Okay, so now we want to append these 2 data frames together, XR and TR. So what we do is we call the new data frame XR-TR, right? We append using XR as the base and then attach TR to XR. And then normally what happens is that it will attach it from the right. All right, let's copy this. Right, so you attach it from the right. The resale price is the 3rd, is really TR, right? TR. So you can see that for XR, they have these 3 rows. All right, and then for TR, they have these 3 rows. And you can see that there's no commonality between these 2 data frames of XR and TR. So what happens when you append them, when you add them together, right? Essentially, you add a column, but because there's no similarity or no index that are similar, they basically add another 3 rows for that, such that the XR, right, which is the first 3 rows, is not connected to the next 3 rows from your TR. Right, so this is one way to append. All right, if we do another one, whereby OR is another data frame, we choose from rows 11 to index 11 to 15 or 14, because 15 minus 1. All right, let's create this. Yeah. Right. So this is the we select the 11 to 14 rows index and then the 3 columns. Now we want to append something called FROR. Right, we want to create a data frame called FROR. So we want to append, right? The base data frame is AMK. You want to append the OR data frame below. All right. So when we append, we use other equals to this data frame, which is below. All right. So AMK data frame on top, and below we added rows for OR. Right. Let's copy this and see. Right. So already the first part, rows 0, index 0 to 224 is our AMK. And then 11, 12, 13, 14 is really our OR. Right. So by using append other equals to OR, we are appending it from below. Right. That means add rows. Right. So this is if you want to know more about how to merge the data, right, you can go to this link. For this exercise, we use the function append. All right, but of course, another way is to use concatenate, right, and which you can look in further for this link. Right, so those are merging data, right? So the next part we want to talk about is joining data frames or table. All right, let's import these 2 libraries, Pandas and NumPy. NumPy is really for array, which we have learned last session. Okay, so let's create a first data frame, right? So the first data frame is called D1. And in this first data frame, if you still remember, the curly brackets is basically a dictionary, right? We have the key called car ID. And this car ID have a series 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And then after that, we have the brand, right? And then we have the series, BMW, Mercedes, Toyota, Mercedes, BMW, and Ford. Now, when you have this, you remember that these are in square brackets. So basically, they are lists. All right. But we want to create all this into a data frame. All right. We want to create this into a data frame. Okay. So what we do is basically we convert this series, right, using Pandas. And in the end, we'll create a data frame 1. All right. Oh, sorry, we'll create a series called data frame. The dictionary. You can see the dictionary, right, with a curly brackets. After that, we convert this D1 into a data frame called DF1. And then we'll see what's the head, right? That means the first 5 rows. All right. So again, the first part is really the dictionary. The second part, convert dictionary to data frame. And then the third part is to print out the data. Let's copy and paste it here. Right. So this part, right, we just delete so that it's in the same row here. Otherwise, they will read it as another new row. All right. And then let's hit Shift Enter. Right. So this is our data frame DF1. Okay, where the column, you have a column ID, and then you have a brand. All right. So this is the data frame 1. Right. Similarly, for data frame 2, right, we create a D2 dictionary with a car ID. Now these car IDs have a 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we have a new column called a year. It's the year of made for the cars. And so these are the years that they make. All right. So again, we make this into a dictionary. And then after that, convert into a data frame. And then we print out the data frame DF2. Right. So we can see that DF1 is a car ID and brand. DF2 is also car ID and year. All right. Some of these car IDs are the same. And then next, afterwards, when we merge them, you'll see when they have the same car ID, what's going to happen, right? So we have created two data frames, and then we want to join them together, right? So there are 4 types of joins, right? They are called the inner join. All right. For inner join, essentially, imagine that each circle is a data frame, right? The one on the left is DF1, the one on the right is DF2. For inner join, essentially, they only select the ones where they have a common identity. In our example, right, the common identity is the car ID, right? So in the first data frame, DF1, you have car ID 1 to 5. In the second data frame, DF2, you have car ID 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when we call for inner join, we only call for the cars which have a common ID in both data frame 1 and data frame 2. All right, so let's copy this and then see the results. Right, again here, right, this is the same line. So this is the inner join data frame. We call the pandas, and the function merge, right? You merge data frame 1 with data frame 2 on car ID, meaning that you want to identify them, right, by car ID, right? You want to merge them. So based on the commonality in the car ID. And how do we want to merge them? We want to use inner join, right? So how is equals to inner join, right? So when you hit Shift Enter, you can see that for inner join, the output is only whereby car ID is 3, 5, and 6. Okay, 3, 5, and 6. All right. Right. Oh, okay. The head is not shown here because there is really a 6 which we did not print out. And maybe I should just print out DF1 here. Right. So for DF1, they really have a 6 here. I was surprised why they have a 6 here just now. All right. So indeed, in DF1, they have a car ID 1 to 6. And then in DF2, they have 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the common car ID is really 3, 5, and 6. So when you do inner join, they only print out the common commonality as based on the car ID, right? So this is inner join. Now, after that, we have same thing. If you want to do an outer, if you want to have everything for these two data frames, right? So we use an outer join. So you'll be everything here. So let's use an outer join. Right, outer join. And you can see that, so they will join together irrespective of whether they have a common ID or not. So if they have a common ID that we know for car ID 3, 5, and 6, so you will have the year for them, right? Because all the car ID, brand, and year will be filled up. However, we know that for others, right, like car ID 1, 2, 4, right, 1, 2, 4, right, they are from data frame 1, but they are not in data frame 2. So we can see that in year for car ID 1, 2, 4, they are not available. Similarly, for the data frame 2, we know that they have 7 and 8, right? They have car ID 7 and 8. So in data frame 2, they have year, but they don't. 7 and 8 does not appear in data frame 1. So that's why the brand is not available, right? So when you have outer join, right? So they will be forced to join together, right? Whether they have a common ID or not. It's just that if they don't have the common ID, then they will not be able to pull the data from the other data frame, right? So that is a outer join. Then of course you can have a left join, right? Where you pick everything from the left side. In our case, will be DF1, and then you pick whatever is common from the right side, which is your DF2. All right. So you can see this is a DF1, 1 to 6 is our DF1. And what we know from DF2 is they have a 3, 5, and 6. So the commonality of 3, 5, and 6 car ID will pull the year from DF2, right? 2020, 2019, and 2021, right? So that is a left join. As compared to the last one is the right join. Right join is that the data frame, we want data frame 2, and then we want a commonality from data frame 1, right? So that is our right join. Right, let's copy and paste this. Right, and you can see that for data, this is data frame 2 as the base. So they have all the data frame 2. ID is 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, all the years. But when we pull the quantity from data frame 1 only has car ID 3, 5, and 6. So we are able to pull the brand. Right, for car ID 7 and 8, we don't pull the brand because they are not available in data frame 1. Right, so these are the 4 common ways to join tables: inner join, outer join, left join, right join. All right. So for today's session, we have walked through data frames on how to import the data, how to select the data and merge the data. And we also talk about how to join tables using 2 different data frames: inner join, outer join, left outer, and right outer join. All right. So we have set up some tutorial questions for you using the housingdata.csv, right? This is really for you to try. All right. With that, I end here. All right. Thanks for your attention.